There's no historical evidence.
Bro, I actually got a whole book on the evidence of the flood. But I mean, if you want to have a debate about,
what's the name of the book?
if you want to have a debate about whether the flood happened or not, we can have a debate about that on another show.
Okay.
But right now, what we're doing is we addressing the points that you made, and if these points are valid, and if these points actually make sense. And so far, your points not only have been false, but some of your points don't even make sense. So let's go back to the whole thing.
Hold on, bro. It's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's you don't know what I'm talking about. So you seems to vigilance and go see what I'm saying. You ain't even looking up.
Some of the stuff I don't even have to look up because the people, the so-called scholars you're bringing up, they're getting that information straight from these European mystics that came from the 1800s, bro. It ain't no getting around.
Now look,
and like I told you,
I've been there.
Already know.
It's just like
you already know that. I heard that already, man. Anthony Browder has been to Kemet. Cash.app has been to Kemet.
I'm not him. I'm saying that
Raquezi has been to Kemet too. He's
I'm saying
false information about Kemet. So it don't matter.
What I'm saying is, if you go there and you see it for yourself.
I do not care about going there and seeing it myself, bro. If you don't have
you can't say that the information that comes out of it is wrong if you're not even willing to go see it for your.
It's not that I'm not willing.
I'm telling you that the evidence is over here, and you're not willing to go, and that means that.
What evidence? Evidence of what? What evidence of what? Because everything you've asserted about Kemet, as far as
Welcome back to another episode of Paradigm Shift TV 314, where today I will be your host, and I go by the name of Nobody. I always trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. And on today's show, it's been a long time coming, man. In the building, we got the God, Metu Hotep Jolaway. How you doing, bro?
Good to be black in the building, brother. Good to be with another group of black people discussing some black information.
All right, that's what's up with that. The second person, man, we got the co-host of Trust and Believe the Gospel, Mr. Co-host to you, Jerome, the Conscious Christian Green. What's good with it, bro?
What's up, bro? What's up, man? Of course, I'm blessed to be back, to have another opportunity to have a dialogue on Paradigm Shift TV 314. You know what I'm saying? I'm on tonight specifically to, nip some things in the bud, you know what I'm saying? Some claims that was made by my brother, Metu. So, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully we can get some true clarification, you know what I'm saying? And another thing I want to bring up is the fact that, in the last show he did with Pianki, you know what I'm saying? He made the statement that, we don't necessarily ever want to have conversations directly with him. So you know what I'm saying? To go ahead and show how untrue that is, we having a discussion right here tonight. So
right, that's righteous. Well, man, I know this been a long time coming, man. Me personally, I've been waiting on this for a minute. I'm happy to have you two brothers in the building. Happy that we could get y'all together, man. And we're not gonna waste the people's time. I don't think we need no clock. I feel like both of y'all brothers can sustain what y'all want to say to each other on a reasonable level to where we probably don't have to use a clock. But if it do get kind of messy, I will jump in, so y'all won't be talking over each other so that everything can be heard. But without further ado, Jerome, go on take over. And Metu, go on do your thing, man. The floor is yours.
All right.
Okay. Now, I listened to the brother Metu on Paradigm Shift TV 314 a couple weeks ago, I believe it was. And he was, making little statements and claims and things like that. And one of the first claims he made was that all as he said, that all religions stem from Kemetic spirituality. Now, I can't speak on every other religion, but I can speak on Christianity. And I know for sure that Christianity does not have its origins in Kemetic spirituality. For number one, if you look at, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna just go ahead and nip this in the bud, because I've had to do this before. When you think about Kemetic spirituality and what it's predicated on as a spiritual tradition, it's predicated on what's called continuity. And for those who don't understand what continuity is the philosophical outlook that everything is continuous with each other. And in essence, that means there's no distinction or or however you want to term it, there's no distinction between God, man, and nature. Now, we see in the Bible and we see within the framework of Christianity that there is a distinction between God, man, and nature, because to a Christian, based on the biblical text, God is not continuous with anything he created. God is transcended over everything that he created. So it's a fundamental difference just in how Christians view God as opposed to how the people of Kemet view God. You know what I'm saying? So that's one point that that I can bring to light just off the top of my head. Secondly, when you make claims like the 42 so-called laws of Ma'at, or where the 10 commandments come from, that's another lie. You know what I'm saying? That's another faulty attempt at creating some genetic dependence between Christianity and Kemetic spirituality.
Where's your evidence?
Don't cut me off, because I'm about to give you the evidence right now.
Okay.
Now, according to Mavlana Karinga, who's actually a disciple of Sheikh Anta, the 42 negative confessions or declarations of innocence are not laws. They're actually spells. You know what I'm saying? And these spells derive from the funerary texts that we know of as the Book of Coming Forth by Day. So how you get that the 10 commandments that are actually commandments come from these 42 declarations of innocence or negative confessions that are actually spells that were to be recited during the afterlife is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it just, I'm still trying to figure out how people in 2021 are still carrying this narrative that Christianity has its origins in Kemetic spirituality. First of all, Christianity came way after Kemetic spirituality. We all know that. But what you have to realize is that if none of the Jewish writers of the Bible knew anything about the Kemetic language or the Kemetic, the Kemetic text or anything like that, then how can you say that they derived their school of thought from Kemetic spirituality on top of the 2 points that I just brought up, where there's a clear fundamental difference between how they view God and the tenets associated with Kemetic spirituality as opposed to Judaism or Christianity. And you have an African scholar that's telling you that these were not 42 laws, but these were actually spells that come from a funerary text.
Okay. Can I give you my answer?
Go ahead,
I'll give you the reason why. Okay. First off, the people that we are now calling Jews at the time that this stuff was being taken out of Kemet information, they was called the Sanhedrins. Look up the Sanhedrins. Before they was called Jews, they was called the Sanhedrins. Now the Sanhedrins was taught in Kemet. As a matter of fact, Moses was taught in the ways of the ancient Egyptians. He got the 10 Commandments from, according to the Bible, from Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is in Kemet. It's still there in Africa now, today. So how is it that, and then even when you go to Mount Sinai, the 42 laws of Ma'at, or what's known as the tablet of Amen, is still there. When it says, and then also Milana Karenga was wrong. These are not spells. That's wrong. That's the difference between an interpretation and an interpolation. He's interpolating. He's not interpreting what it says. When it says, "I have not stolen," became "Thou shalt not kill." Not "Thou shalt not steal." "I have not committed adultery," became "Thou shalt not commit adultery." The 10 Commandments, because Moses took the 10 Commandments from Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is still in Egypt to this day, right now. All right.
So according to the narrative,
Moses was raised in the ways of the ancient Egyptians.
Where did
so
he
if he was
get the
raised
10
in the
Commandments
ways of
from,
the
though?
ancient Egyptians, and the Egyptians taught the negative confession, they had this wasn't something they said when they made that transition. They said this on a daily. When they walk out the house, before they leave their home, they will say, I will not do this. I will not do this. I will not do this. Because you was checking yourself.
So show me what text attests to what you're saying about them supposedly affirming these things before they left the house.
Because you have two interpretations of it. You'll hear
what text? Because I the text that I got this from is that I got my position from is called the Moral Ideals of Ma'at. And if you remember, I asked you specifically about a year and a half ago whether Ma'at was based on a moral ideal or moral obedience. And you said it was based on moral obedience. So who's really right?
I'm going to give you my reference. Read a book called Nile Valley Contribution to Civilization by Anthony Browder. And you can also read a book. Yeah, and by Anthony Browder, but Tony Browder wrote a book called Nile Valley Contribution to Civilization. He breaks all that down where you see the parallel between Christianity and Moses. Moses came. He was raised. He was kept. If it wasn't for Africa, there would not be no Christian, Islam, or Judaism, because all of the fathers of these belief systems fled into Ethiopia. They fled into the Nile Valley for protection. Prophet Muhammad came to Egypt and Ethiopia. Jesus came to Egypt and Ethiopia. Moses came to Egypt and Ethiopia. These places created and protected these saviors, or these people these prophets, however you want to say it, that was going under war from the Europeans. They came and Africa protected.
Hold on. So what war with Europeans was Moses, Abraham, and Jesus in? What are you talking about?
Why did they flee to Africa? Why was Moses? Moses
didn't flee to. Moses didn't flee into Egypt. What are you? What?
How did Moses get to Egypt? His mother put him on the Nile River, and brought him, and the river sent him to the palace of the king. Why did she do that?
But that's not the king was killing.
If the king was killing the firstborn children, why would she send her child to the king's temple for him to be raised in the ways of the ancient Egyptians? If they were so bad, why would
she didn't actually send him to the king's palace. That's where he ended up.
That's where she sent him.
That's where he ended up. That's not where she sent him.
You don't send your child where you know where it's going to end. The Nile River it flows from the south to the north. She knew what she was doing. Jesus, what I'm saying is, even the whole concept of the mother and the child come from Isis and Horus. Well,
Oh my God, you quoting a lot of Jerome right
that's
now.
long. That's what'd you say?
You quoting Jerome.
I
Anthony
didn't say I
Browder.
quoted. See, you're saying
That's
I'm
where he
quoting.
got.
Now,
That's where he got his so-called parallels between Christianity.
but I'm not quoting no Jerome.
But
I'm
you
not
quoting
quoting
Anthony
Jerome.
Browder, who got his information from Gerald Massey. That stuff, bro.
I'm not quoting Jerome.
But you,
what I'm saying is
vicariously, you are quoting Gerald Massey.
No, that's not vicarious.
Yes, because he's the reference point for everything you saying, bro.
No, he's not. He is not
the
reference. That's what you think. That's not
that's
what it is.
I know, bro. Because I have more that stuff.
No, that's what it's the difference between interpretation and interpolate. Now, what I'm telling you is in Kemet, the whole concept is one of the concepts is the mother and the child, but our divinity is the mother, child, and the father. Asar, Aset, and Haru. Europeans later took the original Trinity is the
That's
mother.
Not a Trinity,
father.
bro.
That is a Trinity. The mother,
no, it's
father,
not.
and the child. How is that not a Trinity? The mother, father.
What's the definition of a Trinity, bro?
It means three.
It means three. No, it doesn't.
Trinity.
A Trinity by definition is the state of being threefold. It's not talking about three different deities or three different
and they're not three. There's all one.
Oh man, bro.
It's all one. See, because you don't understand the culture. You don't understand
so Isis, Asar, Aset, and Heru is all one.
It's the same one. It's the same thing. Because we understood that everything is interconnected. There's only one thing that exists. So when I said that about God and nature, God is nature. Matter of fact, there is a papyrus in a British museum. I forgot the name of the papyrus, but there's a papyrus in it. We'll come back to that. But in the papyrus, it says this: Holy Aset, Mother Netchet, mean or mother of nature. Blessed is the fruit of your womb, Haru. In the Hail Mary prayer, it says, Holy Mary, Mother of God, blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Where did the Hail Mary prayer come from? It didn't come from Bethlehem. When you see the exact same, almost the same word for word, come straight out of Kemet. Right out of Africa.
Again? You quoting Brother again?
No, I'm quoting, it's a papyrus in the British Museum that says, Holy Aset, Mother Netchet, or Mother of Nature, blessed is the fruit of your womb, Haru.
Who translated that papyrus?
That became, what'd you say?
Who translated that papyrus?
It's a brother by the name of Matata Ashby. And he wrote a book called
Muata Ashby?
Muata Ashby.
You know he's not a credible source, right?
To you, he's not a credible source.
No, he's not a credible source.
Not
even well, we don't jump subjects, bro. But even within your own community, people are questioning Muata Ashby and whether he's a credible source for anything that he's written.
Well, I'm not
read something. I've read his book
because he shows you in his book.
He's a credible source only for the narrative that you're trying to push because he's confirming your bias. So that's why he's a credible source to you, bro.
Well, now what I'm saying
in the field of academia, he is not a credible source outside of the Nile Valley School.
In his book, he shows you the actual scroll and interprets it for you.
He's the same one that said that the proverbs that we have in the Bible come from Kemet, which is a lie. So why would I believe anything else he said?
Where would the proverbs in the Bible come from? Where did the Bible come from? Do you know that the original translation for the Bible is Helios Biblios, which means,
you know what Helios Biblos means?
It means
Helios Biblos is Greek.
It's the book of the
Biblos
sun.
is Greek.
Right. And so the Bible is a Greco-Roman book.
No, it's not. Because it wasn't even written by Greeks, bro. Okay. You just wrong on so many levels because the Bible is based on
the Romans
Hebrew
and the Greeks
Hebrew thought, bro. The Bible is based on Hebrew thought, not Greek. Now, the New Testament was written in the language of Greek, but Greeks did not write the Bible, bro. I don't know where you got that from.
That's a historical fact.
No, it's not.
Look up the Sanhedrins. They wrote the first
The
Jews, or
Sanhedrins
first
were a
so-called,
sect of Jews.
right.
So,
These are Jews who was in Africa. There was no literature in Europe before the Europeans came into Africa. The first
bro,
European book was called the Iliad and the Odyssey by a European by the name of Homer, and
that
history
has
don't know where the
nothing that has
I'm
nothing to
telling
do
you,
with what we're talking about, bro.
I'm telling you, there was no literature in Europe until the influx of Africans that came in, or the Europeans that came into Africa.
I mean, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, though. I'm talking about who wrote the Bible. Hebrews wrote the Bible, not Greeks.
Okay,
Where you got that idea that
the Hebrews fled into Kemet when they was going through starvation and poverty. They came
why are you
in and
changing?
learned.
Don't jump subjects, bro. We
No,
talking
it's
about
not
who
jumping
wrote the
subject.
Bible. Yes, it is.
The Hebrews fled into
Because first
Kemet.
you saying that the Greeks wrote the Bible. Now you saying the Hebrews fled in. Bro, we talking about who wrote the Bible right now.
I'm saying, right. The Hebrews fled into Kemet. When the Hebrews came into Kemet, they had no language, they had no culture, they had no history. When they left Kemet, they had a language, they had a culture, and they had a history. They didn't have that before they come.
You telling me that because number one, a people can go into a land and develop their own culture, bro. They can develop their own language. Language it's not exclusive to one region, one set of people, or anything like that. Language is universal.
What I'm saying is, when they came in, they didn't have that.
How do you know that?
History tells us that.
Because language, you know how I'm pretty sure you know
they didn't
how
have a language.
Language didn't have, so they weren't speaking and communicating with each other.
No, they did not have a language when they came in.
Man, bro, you crazy like that. They probably didn't have a written language, but I'm pretty sure they had an oral language. They did not have a language.
There is a good book about it. As a matter of fact, there's a documentary. I'm gonna give you a documentary. Look up this documentary. You can watch it for free. Let me give you the name of the documentary.
If you're gonna name a book, if you're gonna name a book by an Afrocentric scholar, I don't want it.
Well, let me give you a reference to where you can go see what I'm talking about. There's a video you can watch on YouTube for free, and then you can do you can look at it from front to back, and then you come back at it. Okay, the name of the documentary is called "The Coming of the European," and you will see
which Afrocentric scholar. Because you keep harping back on Europeans. We're not talking about Europeans, bro.
No, the Hebrews were European.
No, what?
They came from Europe,
bro. You tripping out now?
How am I tripping out? Hebrew.
You can't.
Hebrew. Hold on. Let's go to etymology. The word Hebrew is the origin of the word Hebrew, and it means those that crossed over. They crossed. Matter of fact, when they crossed over, they didn't come.
Do you know where they crossed over?
They walked.
Do you know where they crossed over according to that etymology? They didn't cross over Europe.
And according to history, they did not. They didn't have no boat. They didn't have no boat. They need no ship. There was a pathway where they can walk straight from Europe right into Kemet, and they walked in. They didn't need no Moses to part no Red Sea to get them out of there. They could
into Europe, bro. You hopping on the conspiracy theory. Because none of what you're saying.
Conspiracy theory.
None of what you're saying, because the Bible doesn't say they came out of Europe, bro. You're saying that based on this whole
what I'm saying is
Afrocentric school of thought that tries to conflate Europeans with the narrative of the Bible, bro. You tripping.
No, what I'm telling you is look at a documentary called "The Coming of the European," and you will see that they didn't have no language. They didn't have no culture. They didn't have no history. They came in and it was protected by the Egyptians. But when other people came in, they sided with the conquerors.
Do you know where they came? Do you know where they came into Egypt from?
They came from Asia. Where we now, because Europe don't exist. They came from where we now call Asia.
They didn't come from that, bro.
Yes, it is.
They did not come from
all of
that part of the Mediterranean, bro.
All of that is Asia. If it ain't Africa, it's Asia. You know the name of all the continents? Africa, Antarctica, Asia, and Australia.
They did not come from that part of the Mediterranean, is what I'm trying to tell you.
What I'm telling you
You're trying to say they came out of Europe. They did not come from out of Europe, bro.
Well, no, what I'm telling you is if they didn't come out of Africa, they didn't come from Africa.
So what is Africa? Is Africa not part of the Middle East?
Now, what are you talking about? Middle what? Middle East what? Middle and East
Bruh,
what? If
bruh,
they
I like you
they
you
came from somewhere other than
we
Africa,
gonna
and
we
they
gonna we
came from
gonna we
Asia.
gonna we gonna get back on what we were talking about, but I specifically heard you say that
Do you know that all of that is
The
Asia?
Middle East is Africa. You didn't say Asia. You said it was all Africa. So now you're
Yes,
saying that it's
yeah.
something
That's
else. So
what
which
they
one is it?
call Middle East is a misnomer.
I mean, I understand when the boundaries were created,
No, I'm saying it's a misnomer.
supposedly.
There is no such thing as the Middle East.
Oh, I understand that. I understand that completely. But you said that all of that was Africa. So now you're saying that these people who came from that part of the Mediterranean were European, bro. That don't make no sense.
Right, because you got to understand that all of what we now call Spain, Italy, Germany, Mesopotamia, all of that is Asia. There is no Europe. There is no Greece. All of that is not separated from Asia. These are some Asiatics that came in with no language, no culture, no history.
Well, yeah.
And they
All right,
sided with the
let's
enemies
because
of Africa.
you saying that these people had no language, no culture, nothing like that,
Yes.
and you don't have no primary source documentation to even
I just gave you
corroborate that. A documentary. I mean, Hidden Colors is a documentary, and a lot of the stuff in Hidden Colors is lies. There's documentaries that Hebrew Israelites done made claiming that we the real Jews.
There
That's full of lies. So
are books that got lies in it. It's
of
based off
course,
what
that's why you have to fact.
the
That's why you have to fact check the information. You have
right.
to
But you got to
cite the
also
sources. You have to
but the
cite sources when you do the research.
best way to get the proof of something, you have to do what the creator gave us is called intuition. You have to be in tune. You got to be like, you know what? Based off, you got that spiritual intuition. We all have it.
Bro, this don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about, bro.
Either the
information,
what I'm
either the
telling you is
information
we all have what's known
based
as
on
intuition.
academia, either the information
not
based on academia is true,
it's based off,
or it's not, because if it's
in order for me to
historical,
trust you, I have to have a rapport with you.
You trying to insinuate things into this that have nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're not talking about anything metaphysical. We're not talking about none of that stuff right now. We're talking about historical documentation. Now, you made several blunders in your disquisition. First, you said that the Bible was written by Greeks, which it wasn't. Then you said the Hebrews were Europeans, which they are not. Now you're saying that in order to validate information on history, you have to have intuition. Now, a lot of people. Where did the
Hebrews come from?
You trying to get mystical. Let me finish. You trying to get mystical with something because you don't have any primary source documentation. You don't have any primary source documentation
in the first place.
The Hebrews, before the Hebrews went into Egypt, they came out of Canaan. Canaan is not Europe. So I mean, I don't understand how you don't know that.
Where did they come from and why did they come into Africa?
told you. I told you they came out of the land of Canaan.
Why did they leave from Canaan?
Bro, you already know that why
they were starving to death.
Well, that is not the point. The point is they did not come out of Europe. Now we can move on. The second point that you made is that nature has no limit and
nature has no
everything.
Limit. Yes, it is.
So if nature does not have a limit, like I mean, just explain that right quick, because
nature is everything. Nature is your blood. Nature is your hair follicles. Nature is your heartbeat. Nature is the beat between your heart. The nature is the sunlight. Nature is not designated with just vegetation and animals. Nature is the wind. Nature is the stars. There is nothing nature is not. Everything is nature. Everything, no matter what it is. And everything on this planet lives on a vibration, whether it's on a high vibration or a low vibration. Everything vibrates in order for it to exist in this cosmological area that we live on. Now, nature is everything.
Okay, so
name for me something that you think nature is not.
Well, when you think about the ephemeral, everything you just named is ephemeral, bro. Everything you just named is temporal. That means it is temporary. That it's not eternal. So
Everything
to
is
say
eternal. Nothing dies.
nature is
Everything is
not
energy.
energy itself is not eternal. Energy is a physical quantity.
No, the energy is eternal.
No, it's not,
You can't destroy energy.
bruh. You don't think energy is ephemeral? Why, if energy was eternal, why can you quantify energy?
How can you destroy energy?
How can you
You
destroy
cannot
energy?
destroy energy. Energy.
Why
They'll
can't
teach
you
you in any
destroy
school.
energy?
They'll teach you that energy is never lost nor destroyed. It's just transferred. You can't destroy energy. Energy is forever. The energy that the first person on the planet that sneezed, that still is affecting the wind that we breathe in now, that we feel today. Energy is still here. The first man to die, energy is still here. The first woman
Based on
to
what?
step foot, the energy is still here.
Based on what?
Based off the fact that you cannot destroy energy.
What would
How can you? You can't destroy.
What would be used to destroy energy according to you?
No, I'm telling you, no. That's something you got to ask
Because
yourself.
in order for you not to be able to
That's
destroy
something you got to
energy,
ask yourself.
you would have to know what could destroy energy.
No,
Hypothetically.
but that's something you have to
So
ask yourself.
you're saying
you
that energy cannot be destroyed.
It cannot be destroyed.
And that's like making an absolute statement without absolute knowledge, bro.
That's an absolute statement.
Because if energy can be quantified, if energy can be what's the word I'm looking for?
Now, what energy has been destroyed?
What energy has been destroyed? Can light be destroyed?
No.
Light can't be destroyed.
Light cannot be destroyed. It's transferred.
Electricity. What is light transferred to?
You cannot get rid of. You can't get rid of electricity.
What is it transferred to?
A lower level of light.
If electricity doesn't have a current to run on, then what does it do? It dissipates, right?
But it's not destroyed.
It dissipate is to destroy, basically. So if electricity doesn't have a current to run on, it dissipates. It ceases. So
but it's not destroyed.
That's the same thing, bro. Like what is like? If something,
if it can be destroyed, hold on.
Explain to me what happens
to down to you. Okay. If you can destroy electricity, right? That means you cannot recreate it.
Huh?
Am I correct? If you destroy electricity, that means you cannot recreate it. That means it's destroyed. It's gone. You can't recreate it if it's destroyed, right?
Bro, what analogy are you like? What?
I'm asking you a question.
If you can destroy electricity, there's ways
you can destroy it. You cannot.
I'm about to answer. I'm about to answer it. If you can destroy electricity, there's ways to conduct electricity again, bro.
Then you didn't destroy it.
Yes, it, bro.
If I can recreate something, that means it wasn't destroyed in the first place.
So why would you have to recreate it?
That's a question you need to ask yourself.
No, I'm asking you. Why would you have to recreate something that wasn't destroyed in the first place?
Well, if you turn this light, if I have like where I'm at, there's electricity. If I turn that light off, it's not destroyed. The light is off. That don't mean it's destroyed.
You know why? Because it's operating on what? A current, right? But if the current is not there, if somehow that current is disturbed or disconnected, the energy is destroyed, you won't be able to turn that light on.
Now look.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing with a fire. If you put out a fire with water, that fire is gone. So what you have to do is you have to wait.
But you can't destroy fire.
Yes, you can, bro. Water dissipates fire. That's why you have to recreate.
It dissipates that fire, but it does not it does not get destroyed. Listen to me now, bro. Hear me out. Hear me out real quick.
All right. Okay.
If you get this water and you throw it on some fire, did that destroy fire? Period. No, it
See,
did not.
now
It
you
destroyed that
going into
fire.
a whole different, you going in a
It's
whole
not
different
different. It's the
direction,
same
bro.
thing.
If you have an
If,
individual fire
mhm,
and you pour water on that
right,
fire, the
right,
fire is destroyed. That is my
right.
point. Same thing
But
with
you did not,
electricity, bro.
right. But you did not destroy fire.
What, bro? You're not making sense.
Look, if you look, okay.
Because my point is energy can be destroyed even in quantities. That's my point.
No, if you can recreate something, you cannot destroy it.
Yes,
It's
you
not
can.
destroyed.
That's why you have to recreate it because it's destroyed. You don't destroy. I mean, you don't recreate something that's still there. You recreate something that has literally been destroyed. That's the
Man,
whole
it's
point
like
of recreation.
life. You can't kill life. Life is
You can't.
continuous.
You can't kill life. You telling me that life is continuous in the
It's
ephemeral?
continuous.
In the
Look,
ephemeral.
I don't. Do you have any children?
No, but I know how the reproductive process
Okay, no.
works.
Okay, gotcha. Right. Okay. All right. My brother has 4 children. If something happened to my brother is still alive because he has 4 children.
That has nothing to do with, because physically he's not here anymore. If you're trying to
He is here
insinuate
physically.
physical,
He's still
if
here
you're trying to
because
insinuate physical,
he's his son. He's his daughter. He's his
but
children.
that's not all him though. It's partially his genes and partially someone else's. So it's not really
Right. But
totally
it's
him.
still him.
So that part about
He's not
physical
going.
immortality is not, it's not right and exact, bro.
You
Because
never heard the
if
elders say,
you're an individual, you're an individual person. You can't be replicated. So once you die, that's it. Your
no.
individuality is gone, bro.
Have you
Oh
ever
man, do
heard?
you
Have
understand?
you
You
ever heard?
understand genetics, right?
Have you ever heard your elders say to you, "Your granddad ain't gone until you gone"?
But that is not something that can be taken literal. That's just a saying, bro.
That's the truth. You don't think
Because
they had no truth?
you have maybe 1 or 2 of his traits as far as genetics go, but you're not him.
Because you're
He's
him.
gone. No, you're
You
not.
you are a continuation. We are a
No, you're
continuation of
nah,
our
bro.
ancestors. We are a
Nah.
continuation of our
Because
ancestors.
you don't have every trait that your ancestor had.
But we
So
are a
that kills that
continuation
right
of.
there. No, you're not.
Well, I am a continuation of my
Not in the
grandfather.
way that you're trying to say. You may have some of his traits. You may look like him. You may even speak like him, but you don't have every trait that he had.
But
That's
I'm a
impossible.
continuation.
No,
That's
you're
why
not.
I'm a continuation of my ancestors.
No, you're not, bro. You know, not in the way you're trying to make it seem, bro.
Prove to me I'm not a continuation of my ancestors.
You're not, because you're not your ancestor.
Okay, yes I am. There is
No, you're not.
everything in
You're
life
not your
is
ancestor. That goes back to the point I made about this whole thing about continuity. That's what you're basing most of your answers on, about energy, about you know, this so-called physical immortality through lineage, bro. Like that stuff does not make sense, and that's the reason why I left the conscious community in the first place.
Well, let me give you an example. Let's say that you got a forest fire, right? Imagine there's fire on every tree that you see, and you see a fire bush in front of you. You get some water and you decimate that fire right in front of you. Do the fire that's on all the trees dissipates because you got rid of the one on the ground?
Well, that is a terrible analogy, because you're talking about it is because
destroy something when you
talking
can't
about
destroy anything.
yes, you can, bro. I just gave you 2 examples, bro. I'm not gonna keep going back and forth doing that, because if you're saying that individual, you're talking about a quantity of energy versus another quantity of energy, water and fire. If you have a bucket of water against a forest fire, of course that bucket of water is not going to destroy that whole fire, bro. That's crazy. And that's why they have the planes that go over the forest and drop tons and tons of water on the forest fires, and they have to do this multiple times at
you do know death don't
depending on how
exist.
bad the fire.
But you do know death don't exist, right?
Physical death does exist.
But you do know that death don't exist, right?
Physical death does exist.
But you do know that death does not exist.
Physical death does exist.
But death does not exist.
Physical death does exist. Your body is going to die, is going to dissipate, and that's what death is, bro.
No, that's not.
Your
Look, that's
consciousness
part of death,
continues.
but that's not death.
Your consciousness continues on
Right.
after you die.
Right.
I believe that wholeheartedly. But
Right. True.
your physical body, your physical body, it dies, bro.
But that's part of death. That's not death, right?
Your heart stops. Your heart stops. Your organs shut down. Your brain ceases activity. That's all a part of physical death.
But the physical part of death is part of death, right? It's not death, right? Am I right? Look at what you just said.
I just want to see what you're getting at, because
when you say physical death, that means that you're saying
death.
That.
Physical death is based on the biological function ceasing, right?
But that's part of death.
That is death.
Okay.
Do you want me to pull up the definition?
So if someone dies and go to hell, did they die?
Physically, yes.
But they did not die.
Their physical body died. That's what I'm talking about. That's what people equate death with. Even atheists would tell you that death is the death of your physical body. Anytime a living organism.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I'm saying it's part of it. Two things happen when you die. Your spirit left your body, and your physical body no longer is doing what it was doing at first, right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Your spirit leaves your body, and your physical body goes into it dies.
Yep, it goes right into the state of decomposition.
Right, and decomposition. But you did not die, because you're not your physical body. You're your spirit.
Okay, I can agree with that. I can actually agree with that. But
that's part of death.
Physical death.
That's part of it. What I'm saying.
Physical death is what I just said, bro. You talking about the continuation of the consciousness. The consciousness does not die. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
This is what I'm saying. There's two things that just happened. Your consciousness left, and your physical body went into decay. Now you can't say the fact that your physical body died that you're dead when your consciousness is still in existence.
So when we talk about death, are we talking about the physical body actually dying? And
no, I'm talking about a holistic thing. I'm talking about holistically, you do not die. Part of you die, and the other part of you exists. You can't say the part that died is that's it for you.
I mean,
if I die,
let me ask you this.
That means that part of me is still alive, so I'm not dead.
So let me ask you this: where does that part that continues on? Where does it come from once you're conceived at birth? I mean, not at birth, but once you're conceived through a man and a woman having sexual union. Where does that consciousness come from?
What do you mean?
What do I mean, bro? You're supposed to be on this. Like, where does that consciousness that we're endowed with, where does that come from?
It already existed. Your consciousness existed before you was even born.
But it has to have a reference point. What is that reference point?
You know, the first thing that's made when you're created in the womb of your mother is your brain.
I'm not talking about the brain, because consciousness exists beyond the brain. I'm asking you, what is that reference point? What is the reference point for the consciousness that each of us have collectively?
Where did that consciousness go? Is nature.
No, I said, where does it come from?
It never went nowhere. It ain't coming from nowhere.
It had to come from somewhere.
It already existed.
It didn't inhabit your brain.
It already existed.
Man, bro, you
exist before your physical. You know that, right?
Bro, I'm asking you, where does it come from? I'm not asking you if it exists before we're born, if it exists before the brain is developed. I'm asking you where it comes from.
It comes from nature.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, nature is everything. It does not.
Nature is ephemeral. Nature is a part of this physical realm. It's not the ultimate reference point for our consciousness, because when we die, this ephemeral realm is not the barometer for our consciousness, bro.
You ever heard of the phrase "everything is everything"?
Bro, you're not hearing me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you believe that our consciousness exists outside of the ephemeral brain, then you have to believe that there's a realm outside of this physical one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so why are you trying to chalk everything up to nature?
Everything is nature. I ain't chopping nothing into nature. Everything is nature.
So where did nature have a beginning?
Nature is always has been and always will be.
So nature was it created?
No.
Oh man, hey man, let's move on, bro, because you
You can't create nature.
Okay,
How can you create?
what?
How can you create nature then?
How do you create nature? Do you believe in intelligent design?
That's just like saying, how can I create the sun? You can't create the sun.
We can't create the sun, you mean? But the sun was created. Everything within this universe was created and created intelligently. That's what I'm trying to get to you.
Everything
I don't know what Kemetic spirituality has to say on the subject.
No,
but
okay.
I
Everything
believe
that existed before you seen it. Everything that you see existed before you saw it.
Okay, but our seeing of this is limited. So
right.
What I'm saying what I'm trying to relay to you is that this, what we call creation, had a beginning. It was created by something outside of it. It made
itself
a starting point. How could it make itself? It came from itself. According to, that's why it's called creation, because it was created, brother.
And it came from itself.
How did it come from itself?
It is itself. There's
how?
In the beginning,
explain how it came from itself.
From itself, it manifested itself from
so
itself.
You're talking about and that's another, you just validated the point I made earlier, because the Bible doesn't say anything about nature coming from itself. You know what I'm saying? So
let's go to the Bible now. Since you're going to the Bible, where did God come from?
Oh, God is self-existing, bro.
So where you come from?
God doesn't have a reference point. God doesn't have a beginning. God doesn't have an origin. God is.
So to you, God and nature is two different things.
Right, because God existed before nature, before creation, before the universe.
I don't have that subscription.
Okay, so that validates my point that Kemetic spirituality and Christianity are not compatible.
Right.
There's no genetic dependence between the narrative. There's no genetic dependence between the practices. There's no genetic dependence between the ideologies themselves, because just on that alone, and I know people like Ashra Kwesi say, oh, they came in and stole this off the walls, and that's how you get the Genesis story in the Bible. Nah, they're too different. They're too different to even make that claim. So Ashra Kwesi, he may know about Kemetic spirituality.
Did God tell man about God, or did man tell man about God?
Did God tell man about God, or did God tell man about God?
Right. Or did man tell man about God?
Did God communicate certain things to men at certain times?
Right. Did God tell man that he's God, or did man tell man that there's a God?
God told man.
So God has a mouth.
God can speak. He may not have a physical mouth to speak, bro. God is a spirit. So if God wants to communicate with us, he can. Like, do you understand that
everything that exists has?
Do you understand that linguistic information is immaterial? Do you know that science can't tell you where linguistic information comes from?
See, but your concept of God and nature is outside of my subscription.
And that's exactly right. And that's why
you believe in the concept of God holding the world. God got he controls the world with his hand. He holds the world in the hand. I'm saying
not
God
literally. Not from the. See, you're taking it literally. When you hear that phrase that God has the whole world in his hands, that's attesting to his sovereignty over creation. He's not sitting here literally holding the world in his hands like we will hold a small little ball or something like that.
It's a parable, right?
Yeah. So
everything in the Bible is a parable.
Everything. Everything in the Bible is not a parable, bro.
There's not.
What's the definition of a parable?
I'll look it up. Let me
See,
look it up.
no, don't look it up, because
No,
if you made
you
that
look up
claim
stuff.
and you
I'll
didn't
look
know
it
what
up.
you
I
were
don't
talking,
know off the
and you
top of
didn't,
my
and
head
you
because I
didn't.
don't go by parables.
So how can you say the whole Bible is a parable if you don't even know what it is to begin with?
Well, let me tell you what I know what it is, but I don't know what it is by definition. Let me give you the definition.
How do you not know what it is, but you don't? How do you know what it is, but you don't know what it is by definition? That don't make sense, bro.
Because I'm limited. It says
No,
parable
because
is a simple. It's a
you're
simple
regurgitating
story.
something you heard, bro. That's
It's
all that
a
is.
simple story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson as told by Jesus and the Gospels.
Right. So how is the whole Bible a parable?
Because it's a moral story that illustrates a spiritual lesson.
So you're saying that the whole Bible
The
just
whole
illustrates a
Bible
spiritual lesson, that it's nothing,
it's a moral story.
nothing about physical man and the human
Everything that
condition,
happened,
or nothing
the
like that.
stuff that happened in the Bible happened within literature, not literally.
You
Because
sure about that, bro?
it's a
You
moral,
you sure about that?
it's illustrated, it's an illustration of a moral and spiritual lesson.
So does the Bible say that it's a parable?
The Bible is a parable.
So based on what? Because we know that Jesus used metaphors and
Right,
parables and
right,
things like that.
right.
But everything in the Bible is not a metaphor, bro.
Everything in the Bible is a metaphor because nobody
No,
is
it's
a
not.
Bible.
What?
What you say?
So are you trying to say that nobody in the Bible existed?
What I'm saying is the Bible is a parable. You can put a real person in a mythological place, and that don't mean that person and those events happened historically.
So let me ask you this: there's
Like
over 100.
Like
There's over.
Spider-Man lives in New York, but Spider-Man
Okay,
does not exist.
that's a bad analogy.
No,
Because if you're
it's
gonna
a
say
parable. See, the Bible is a moral
none of the
story.
people,
You can
if you're gonna,
you can
bro,
find
you don't
morality.
even.
You can learn morality in the Bible.
Of
Right?
course you can, but
Okay, the whole
that's
Bible
not the
is a morality
totality.
story.
That's not. No, it's not, bro.
Okay,
The Bible is based on God's communication with man throughout
right,
history.
right, because it's a
So don't
moral
just say it's a
story.
parable. So don't just say it's a parable, bro.
It's the
Because
whole thing is a parable.
everything in the Bible is not based on morality. So your assertion is false. It's erroneous, bro. And the fact that you didn't even know what a parable was until you had to look it up just now says a lot.
I knew what
I
it
just think
was.
no,
I
you
knew what it
didn't.
was,
Because I
I
asked
know
you
it
and
was.
you
I
didn't
had to
even
look up
bro, you had to
you know what you would have done had I not looked it up.
you didn't know what it was, bro.
You know
You
what you
didn't know
would
what
have
it
done had
was.
I not looked it up. If I
You
would not
literally
have looked it up, you would have been, hold up, let me look it up for you and give you the definition.
No, I wasn't. I promise you that's not what I was going to do.
You've
I
been
was just
looking
going to
up
move
stuff
on
since we've
because
been
you
on the
don't
phone.
you what did I look up?
You
Name
looked
one
up the
thing I
word
looked up.
death. You looked up death. Do a person die? I was looking at the phone.
No, I did not.
That's me, bro. That's me. That's me.
Looked up the definition of death, probably not
That's
me.
me doing. No, no,
I
no.
am looking
That's
at.
all
I'm
of y'all.
seeing someone
That's
looking
me.
up the word death.
That's me
Do a
putting the
person
stuff on
die?
the screen, y'all. That's me. That's me. That's me. That's
Oh,
me.
I was about to say, bro, don't put that on me, because
I
even if
saw
I
that
was
on
to
the
show,
screen,
I
so I
can't
was
even
like,
I can't even.
Hold up, y'all. Wait, hold up. Kind of. Metu. That's me pulling when y'all say certain things. I'm pulling it up on the screen. That's me doing that.
okay.
Yeah, let's get that clear. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
I
I saw the phone light up, and I'm like, okay, he looking it up. Okay, cool.
okay. Well, that's honest mistake, But the Bible is not, like I said, the Bible is not a parable. You haven't even read the entire Bible or enough of the Bible to even make that assertion.
How do you know what I've read and what I have not read?
Because if you didn't know that, if to make the assertion that the Bible in its totality is a parable shows that you haven't read it.
It's full of the whole thing is a parable.
It has parables, but that's not the whole Bible, bro.
Because there is no okay, where is the evidence of existence of Noah?
Where's the evidence of the existence of Noah?
Right, of the ark and all that. When did this supposed to happen?
You mean like the flood?
There's no historical evidence.
Bro, I actually got a whole book on the evidence of the flood. But if you want to have a debate about,
what's the name of the book?
If you want to have a debate about whether the flood happened or not, we can have a debate about that on another show.
Okay.
But right now, what we doing is we addressing the points that you made, and if these points are valid, and if these points actually make sense. And so far, your points not only have been false, but some of your points don't even make sense. So let's go back to the whole thing.
Hold on, brother. It's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's you don't know what I'm talking about. So use intellectual vigilance and go see what I'm saying. You ain't even looking up what I'm saying.
Some of the stuff I don't even have to look up, because the people, the so-called scholars you're bringing up, they're getting that information straight from these European mystics that came from the 1800s, bro. It ain't no getting around it.
Now look,
and like I told you,
I've been
you
there.
already know.
It's just like
you already know that. I heard that already, man. Anthony Browder has been to Kemet. Ash Raquezi has been to Kemet.
I'm not him. I'm saying me.
Ash Raquezi has been to Kemet too. Look, he's asserted false information about Kemet. So it don't matter if you've been there or not. I don't even care about that. If you go there
and you see it for yourself,
I do not care about going there and seeing it myself, bro. If you don't have,
you can't say that the information that comes out of it is wrong if you're not even willing to go see it for your.
It's not that I'm not willing. It's the fact that
I'm telling you that the evidence is over here, and you're not willing to go, and that means that
what evidence? Evidence of what? It's what evidence of what? Because everything you've asserted about Kemet, as far as it, having some influence over Christianity, is false, and that's point blank. Period.
But if you're not willing to go and see for yourself,
man,
then you're not intellectually honest with yourself.
If I go there, I'm not gonna see anything that had any influence on what I.
But you gotta go. You gotta go. You can't have that assertion.
You went to Kemet. You went to Kemet with a presupposition, and that's why you think that stuff is true. But it's not true. You do a compare. We can do a whole compare and contrast on the tenets of Christianity and what came out of Kemet, and you gonna see that they're diametrically opposed to one another, bro. I just gave you 2 examples at the beginning of the show, and you just disregarded those because it goes against what you believe about the situation. So, if you want to believe that's the case, then you can go ahead and believe it, bro. But I know differently.
But belief is the vein that you're coming from. But that's the vein that you're coming from.
Nah,
I know what I'm talking about.
Man, bro, I just literally gave you 2 points that you can't refute. So you're harping on a belief.
What 2 points of that?
And then just a few minutes ago,
let's address that.
Just a few minutes ago, you confirmed my point by saying that the Bible, as far as the story of creation, is totally different from that of Kemet. So which one is it, bro?
The Bible is a parable.
Is a what?
It's a what's the word? We just said it's a
what parable?
Parable. Yeah, thank you.
It's not a parable.
It's a parable.
No, it's not. And you can't prove it because first of all, you didn't even know what a parable was. But
I know what a parable was, but
the Bible was a parable because you just regurgitating what you heard, bro.
No,
you don't have enough understanding of the Bible to even say what it is and what it ain't.
You don't know what I know. I do.
You don't.
I'm an ordained minister.
A minister of what?
I am an ordained minister.
Of what? Of what?
I have read that Bible from the front.
You might have read it, but you haven't read it in context. So
you know how I read the Bible? From front to back. I read it when I looked at it from a parable. I learned so much morality from that book.
Man, bro. Yeah, okay.
People go to war with that Bible because they don't understand that it's not look.
Oh, bro. I don't like all that. Oh, you just regurgitating stuff I already heard, bro.
In Israel right now, the Palestinians are fighting the Jews right now today because according to the Bible, God promised land to Abraham's son. Didn't say which one, Ishmael, Isaac. So people are fighting to the death, losing their life based off a parable.
So how is that a parable? How is God telling Abraham?
When did God get a part of real estate? You got a God that's gonna tell you, I'm gonna give this man something.
God is if God, okay, let's go according to the narrative. If God is the creator, if God is the creator, God can give a plot of land to whoever he wants to.
But they said the Bible said that God shows no favors.
God shows no
So
favoritism.
how you gonna favor one son over another son?
Do you understand
God
the
is no
reasoning why
respecter
he
of a
gave
person.
though one of Abraham's sons
But we
that
don't know
land?
which one it was because it's a parable.
Because it's not a, bruh. What's the definition of a parable?
I just read it to you.
Okay, so how does that apply to the narrative of Abraham and his sons?
Because it's a moral story that'll teach you something.
What's the
Just like
moral? What's the moral? Bro,
it's like
you
with the Three
tripping.
Little Pigs. You can learn a moral story from the Three Little Pigs. It's a
Okay,
morality
that's
story. You can
actually
learn something from
that's a
that.
bad analogy.
You can learn
What
from the Three
moral
Little. You can't learn from the Three Little
teaching?
Pigs.
So what moral teaching
I
comes
mean,
from
you
what
can't learn from the
Abraham?
Three Little Pigs.
That's a bad analogy. But what moral teaching did you get from God? What God told Abraham about his sons?
What about Ishmael and Isaac? What I saw in there was, first off, it didn't happen. So you got
Let's move on, because you're not gonna answer the
no.
question
Let
directly.
me. I can't. Okay, all right.
You just
According to the Bible,
the whole thing about
that
now this
Abraham, God gave Abraham. Abraham had two sons, Ishmael and Isaac, right? A Jew and an Egyptian. Am I correct?
a Jew, and Isaac wasn't a Jew, bro.
Right, Jew. He was a
Neither one
Jew,
of
and
his
Ishmael.
neither Isaac wasn't a Jew. The Jews weren't even a people yet. I mean, man, let's move on, because
Abraham is the
you're not
father of the so-called
okay.
father of the Jews.
He's not the father of the Jews. He's the how do you
He's the
say
father of the Jews.
the father? No, not the father of the Jews, because the Jews didn't come through him directly. You have Abraham, you have Isaac, and you have Jacob. Jacob is literally Israel. So in essence, Israel came through Jacob. They didn't come through Isaac, and they didn't come through Abraham. Abraham is the forefather of Israel, but he's not the direct father of Israel. So let's just move on, because it seems like you don't have a correct understanding of certain things that took place in the Bible. Now let's go back to this whole
Because
thing
it's
about
not a
praying to
historical
yourself.
book.
Oh, whatever, man. I'm not about to go down that rabbit hole with you, but what this whole thing about praying to yourself,
Yes.
what do you benefit by praying to yourself? Because just go ahead and explain. Go ahead, give your spiel.
Okay. I am a part of nature. I am with nature. I am nature. So there's nothing wrong with thanking my lungs, thanking my liver, thanking my kidney, thanking my legs for standing, thanking for my body for adjusting, thanking me for being who I am. There's nothing wrong with thanking yourself, because you have the power to intervene on the behalf of yourself. You don't need no if you have a healthy immune system, your body will heal itself. You don't need no vaccination, you don't need no shot. You don't need none of that, because your body is able to heal itself. Why not thank yourself for having the ability to heal itself?
You want to know why?
Wow.
Because the ingenuity that you have, it did not come from you. You don't necessarily have total control over what happens to your body, bro. So praying to yourself in that respect makes absolutely no sense at
How
all.
is that? How is it that it don't make sense for you to have control of your limbs, control of your, you know what I'm saying? You are in control. You are nature. You don't need to go to no white man to give you a prescription pill. You have the power to do it yourself.
Listen, bro. I understand, your stance on, pharmaceutical companies and things like that. I understand that, bro.
Not
But
only
for
that,
you to
I'm saying
pray,
that your body heals itself. It does not need any outside interference.
so say if you had a laceration that was so severe that you needed surgery, what would you do? Would you just bleed out, or would you go to a hospital?
What's a laceration?
A cut, deep wound
Mm-hmm.
that needed stitches, or you needed emergency surgery because you hit an artery or something. What would you do? Would you pray to yourself, and would your body miraculously heal itself, or would you go to a hospital and get some medical attention?
I would go to the hospital. You can cover that wound and it'll heal itself.
So before the wound can heal itself, there has to be an outside influence that
It has to be
facilitates that, right?
It has to be sheltered
by an outside influence, right?
It's gonna close itself anyway.
How? If you bleed out, you're gonna die.
No, you're stopping the blood. Whatever's coming out, you just stop it.
How?
With your hand or with a scarf or whatever.
Sometimes
you still
a scarf in your hand doesn't always work, bro.
Right, and sometimes going to the hospital to get you killed.
Man, bro, so we talking about going to the hospital for a laceration that cannot be stopped by your hand or a towel. Are you going to bleed out because of your speculation about hospital, or are you going to go to the hospital and get medical attention? Yes or no?
With all three, I can possibly bleed out. With all three, I will take my chances.
Yes or no? You gonna take your chances and bleed out? You're not gonna seek medical attention?
Yes, I'll take my chances.
Okay, well, that shows how illogical.
That's not illogical.
That is illogical.
It's all three. You can still bleed. You can go to the hospital and bleed out. Can't you go to the hospital and bleed out?
Diminishes what diminishes. You can
go to the hospital and bleed out?
You can, but what diminishes your chances? What diminishes your chances of bleeding out? Getting your wound closed by somebody who knows what they're doing, or are you gonna just bleed out because I don't want to go to a hospital because I might die?
I'm not gonna leave it open. I'm gonna do what I can.
How you gonna close it? You can't close it by yourself now because you don't have.
You can close it with your shirt. You can close it with you have things around you that can help you close that wound.
Your shirt is not always gonna be the sufficient closure. So your chances, if the cut is severe enough, but what I'm saying is, if the cut is severe enough, your shirt not gonna be able to stop it. Either you're gonna get medical attention or you're gonna die. One out of the two.
I would rather die.
Boy. And that's what comedic spirituality teaches you.
No, that's what I teach me, because I know that I know that going to the hospital, I can die just as much as it's quicker in the hospital.
Okay.
Than trying to heal it myself.
Okay. All right. If that's your if that's your synopsis or your assessment of it, fine.
All I'm saying is that I learned more from the Bible when I looked at it from
we're not on the Bible no more, bro.
Other than
we're not on the Bible no more, bro.
I'm on the Bible.
We're not on the Bible no more.
I'm on the Bible,
parable, and you didn't even know what a parable was. So I'm not
on the Bible.
I'm saying the Bible's not a parable. So that's why
the Bible is easy to read when you realize that look, I'm saying that the Bible is easy to read from cover to cover when you know it's not a historical book.
Yeah, okay. So, but they have historical.
The Bible is harder to read when you think it really happened. When you look at it from the standpoint of just a parable book, you can read it straight from cover to cover.
Well, if it was full of parables, your conclusion would make sense, but it don't. So, this whole thing about praying to yourself don't make sense because you're a composite contingent being. So what gives you the right to worship or admiration? You worship yourself, pray to yourself?
Yes. Because you have the power I have the power to save myself.
Save yourself from what?
From whatever. If someone's coming to attack me, I have the power to save myself from that attack. I'm going to thank myself for having the ability to save myself.
Based on what? Because if somebody is coming to you and they have a weapon in their hand and you don't have a weapon, then what are you going to do?
I know how to disarm people.
If they have a gun and they point the gun at you,
I know how to disarm. I know how to. I've disarmed people
before. If they're standing at a distance,
they don't have to stand. They can run.
They're not going to run, bro.
However, a person come to me, I know how to defend myself.
How big are you, bro? How tall are you? How many pounds you weigh?
It doesn't matter. I know how to defend myself. Let me
answer the question. Ask the question, because if somebody is standing a distance from you, if you're a certain size and a certain height, you're gonna move too slow to get to them before they shoot. So once they shoot you, what you gonna do?
Attacking me is coming to me. Attacking me ain't shooting from a distance.
So if somebody comes at you with a sledgehammer, then what you gonna do?
I know how to defend myself.
Okay, all right. You hit, man. You know how to.
If someone points a gun and shoot me, they did not attack me. They shot me. An attack means that you
So-
coming to approach me. I'm going to get you if you come after me.
You can attack somebody with a weapon, and a gun is a weapon. So
Okay, you can attack me with any kind of weapon you think, but I'm going to disarm you. No ifs,
you
ands, or buts.
can't disarm somebody who's at a distance with a gun that has bullets in it.
But they're not attacking me.
So what are they
coming
doing?
from a distance?
Isn't shooting somebody a form of attack? I mean,
It's not an attack. That's shooting.
So in warfare, what is an attack? What do people attack other people with? Guns, right?
No, you can attack someone with a stick.
Bro, in warfare,
you can attack someone. You can attack someone with a brick.
Shooting at them with guns, though.
It's more than one way to attack a person. To attack me,
that's my point. That is my point. So like I said, going back to my analogy, if somebody attacks you,
that means you're coming to me.
If somebody attacks you from the standpoint of them having a gun and they're shooting at you or shooting you, what are you going to do?
You coming to me. That means you're attacking me.
I mean, they can be walking up to you while they're shooting you. So I mean,
but if you come to me, I'm going to disarm you.
It's not about whether they come to you. What I'm trying to show you is you're not that potent in your own ability that you can just defend off any attack, bro.
What I'm saying is you come to me.
I'm going to defend myself. To yourself, you can try, but that doesn't mean you're gonna succeed, bro.
Right, but at the same time, you gonna know I defend myself before you got rid of me.
Well, that does. If your defense isn't sufficient enough to save your life, why are you praying on yourself?
Because I still have the ability to defend myself, even if I die. Just like when a puppy. Matter of fact, a skunk. You got a skunk that's going on an attack. It's gonna get eaten up no matter what. The last thing it did was spray the shit out of you. Now, did that kill you?
If it had the chance to. If it had the chance to. That's up in the air whether the skunk would be able to defend itself or not.
Animals also,
that's the same thing.
You know that everything in nature has the ability to where even if you kill me, I have poisons in my body that will secrete from my body to where even if you eat me, I'm poisonous.
I mean, but that's not you though.
That everything in nature has enough. Everything in nature has a defense mechanism in it.
Do you understand that there's living organisms that can survive and defend itself better than you can?
Yes.
So why are you praying?
And there's people who that if I came after them, there was nothing they can do about it.
So again, why are you praying to yourself? Just knowing how limited you are in even defending yourself. Why? What is the point of praying to yourself? What is the point of trying to give yourself worshipful admiration when you don't even deserve it?
Because I'm not limitless. I have limits, but I'm not limitless.
Limited. I know you're not limitless,
but I'm not limitless.
Because yes, what?
I'm limited, but I'm not limitless.
Explain that right quick. Because
meaning that limited means that someone come, there's nothing I can do. Limitless means that there are some things that I can do, but there's not that much I can do.
Limitless means there's things you can do, but that means you're limited, bro. What you talking about?
No, it's okay. Limitless means that I have two options. Either I'm gonna kill you and you're gonna kill me. That's limitless. Limited means that there's nothing I can do. That's nothing I can do.
Like limitless means that there's ways there's an infinite number of ways that you can get out of the situation if being confronted. Limited. Bro, okay. Do you want to go and look up the definition of this one too?
When you're limited, you don't have many options.
Exactly.
Let's just go to something else, man. This gonna be a crazy. This gonna go into a circle. But
okay,
what I'm saying is everything that I said before, I'm in control of what I say, how I say it. I'm not in control of how you interpret it. You can interpret a good thing as something bad, but I'm not in control of your interpretation. I'm only in control of what comes out of my mouth.
It's not based on my interpretation because anybody who hears what you've been saying so far know it don't make sense at all.
Right. Just because it don't make sense don't mean that it's false.
So what does it mean?
It don't make sense to you.
It don't make sense from an objective standpoint. It ain't got nothing to do with my opinion.
But it don't make sense to you.
No, it don't make sense to anybody.
No, it don't make sense to you. You can't speak for everybody.
Well, you're not even making it make sense, so it don't make sense.
It makes sense to me. That's why I'm saying that.
Bruh, It
It
makes
makes
it
sense to me.
okay
It makes sense
in
to
your
me to say
subjective,
nature is everything. That makes so
but
much sense to me.
you don't have
Nature
a
is
backing.
everything.
You don't even have a backing for it. You just trying to sound deep. That's all.
No, it's not trying to sound deep. What
Yes,
is
you are.
nature not? What is nature not?
Nature is not eternal. I can say that much.
No, what is nature not?
I just told you what it's not.
Nah, no.
Yeah,
What is it
yeah.
not? Give me something
It's
tangible.
not
And
eternal.
nature is not.
Nature
What
is tangible. So that means
what
nature is ephemeral. If nature itself is ephemeral, it's tangible, it's composite, it's contingent, then that means it is not unlimited. It is not how you say it has a
everything?
limit. Nature
It,
has a limit. Nature is not
then
everything.
what's the then what tangible thing nature is not? If it has a limit. What is it not?
What is nature eternal or is it ephemeral? Yes or no?
Give me something tangible.
Yes or no?
What's that? You ain't answered the question. What is nature
Because
not?
I asked you the question. I
You
said
just saying
nature is not
nature ain't eternal.
it's not
That's not
because
tangible. Give me something tangible that nature is not.
it is because it has a limit. Nature has a limit.
What's the
Nature had a
limit to nature?
beginning. What is the limit then, bro? Do you
What's the limit to
understand?
nature?
If nature didn't have a limit, nature wouldn't have to reproduce itself, would it?
What that means it don't have a limit.
Yes, it does.
If nature can reproduce itself,
Everything within nature has a time limit. It expires.
but everything is constantly
So
reproducing itself, correct?
and what does that come from?
Nature is constantly
What put those laws into
it's a
place?
circle. You can't end a
What
circle.
put those laws into place, bro?
You can't end a circle.
Bro, you're not hearing me.
You're not hearing me.
If
How can you
everything
end a
because
circle?
me
Where's the
if
end of a
everything
circle?
in nature if everything in nature was just unlimited, then nothing would expire. Everything would still be as it was from the beginning, right?
Not the same mindset. But how do you end the
What are you
circle?
talking about? What
How
are
do
you
you end the
mindset? What
circle?
are you talking about? What are
I
you
don't
talking about? Mindset.
the mindset of one group of people is not the mindset of another group of people.
We
And
talking
just
about
because
nature,
this right, nature is a circle. How do you end the
bro.
circle?
I'm asking you if nature is this unlimited quantity that you're trying to make it out to be, then why does everything have an expiration date?
When did nature expire?
Say that again.
When did it expire?
Things expire every day, bro.
What
People,
expired? What has
trees,
expired?
all living organisms expire. Trees expire. Everything every
Everything is
element that makes up
constantly
nature
reproducing
expires.
itself. Everything is constantly reproducing. So how is it as an expiration
Okay.
date?
Why does it have to reproduce?
Because it's eternal.
It's not eternal, bro.
No.
It is follow. Nature is literally following a law it is bound to because something put that law into place. And that something exists outside of nature. It exists outside of time, space, and matter.
The law that nature abides by, man had to study it to know that it was a law. It was a law before man came into existence. He had to study it to realize, damn, this is a law. If I burn something, it's gonna. If I put this flame to something, it's gonna burn it. I didn't know that. That's a law. So man is here to study nature because he's part of it. If I don't study this thing that I'm part of, I'm gonna get ate alive.
Okay, but that don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about. We know about natural philosophy. We know about science. We're talking about
what I'm
nature.
saying is you're putting God outside of nature. God is
God
nature.
is outside.
Okay.
God is outside of nature, bro.
Then that's
God is
what
not.
we part.
Yeah, because God is not this demiurge that had to realize that it was conscious before it started creating. And it did, and God did not have to extend. God did not have to extend through creation. God knows his own creation. God don't have to like another point you brought up. We are God having a human experience. Since when does God need to have a human experience through us?
To learn itself.
So God, so the God you believe in is not all knowing.
I don't believe in God.
So who what? Huh? You don't believe in God?
I don't believe in God.
Okay, so hold on. So now you're saying you don't believe in it.
Right. Because the God that you're talking about is outside of nature.
Okay, so you believe in a God, but you just don't believe in a God that's outside of nature.
I believe in nature. So if
Oh,
your definition
okay. So
of God is something outside of nature, I don't believe in God. But if you say God and nature is the same thing, that's what I believe in. But if God is different from nature, I don't believe in God.
Okay, so you
That's
just
what
have
I'm
a
saying.
naturalistic understanding of reality.
What I'm saying is God is nature. No, there is nothing outside of nature.
There's nothing outside of nature. So what
But if you say that God is outside of nature, I don't believe in God.
Okay, so all right. I mean, that's cool. You know, that's another point for me, because that just shows that Christianity and Kemetic spirituality are diametrically opposed. So one has nothing to do with the other. So you know what I'm saying?
Spirituality existed before religion.
Bro, let me ask you this, because you brought up an interesting point about the etymology of religion. The etymology of religion comes from the definition to bind, or to bound, right?
Right.
So would you say that you're bound to Ma'at?
Yes.
So by that admission, you follow a religion.
Yes.
Okay.
That's based off.
I hope y'all heard that.
Yeah,
Metu
it's
just
based off
admitted
of
that he does
spiritual
follow a
sources.
religion.
Yep. It's based off common sense.
Okay. But nothing you said so far has made too much common sense. So my
To
art
you,
must be not doing you
it
too
didn't make
good.
sense to you. That don't mean it don't make sense.
It only makes sense subjectively to you, but it don't make sense when you take a look at reality.
Because it's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about, because some of what you're talking about I've already heard. Like, bro, did you forget that I used to follow Kemetic spirituality at one point in time?
You obviously didn't.
Yes, I did. I know, bro. How do you think I know about Ash? I know about Ash Raquezi.
That don't mean just because you know about certain people don't mean that you know about it.
I read their books. I've heard their lectures. I've heard their lectures, bro.
I know about everybody in the church, but that does not mean that I'm.
But you don't know about everybody in the church, bro. That's another falsehood. You're not exhibiting my art right now, bro. You lying.
No, what I'm saying is,
you don't know about everybody in the church.
You can't just say I know about Ashford Quasi, so I study Kemetic science.
That don't have nothing to do. That don't have nothing to do with me studying Kemetic science. I'm saying I've heard their lectures. I've read their books. I read Muwatta Ashby's books. I had to give you the correct name of Muwatta Ashby because you said it incorrectly.
You didn't study.
Yes, I did, bro. How you gonna tell me what I studied? You want me to pull up the books and show you?
Just because you can pull up a book
and show you where I ordered these books off of Amazon.
It don't matter. You didn't study.
All right, don't tell me what I studied and what I didn't, bro.
You know what that do? When you study your culture, it connects you to you.
Man, bro, I don't want to hear the rhetoric, bro. Point is, I used to believe it. I found out that it didn't make no sense. You confirm it that it don't make no sense.
The Bible disconnects you from you.
The Bible don't disconnect me. You know what the Bible does? The Bible tells me who I am at my core. You don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe it because to you it's just because it's outside of Africa, you don't want to hold to it. But that don't matter, bro.
No, what I'm saying is because of Africa they exist.
Because of Africa,
listen. You're trying to say that Christianity existed outside of Africa before Africa.
What?
That's what you're saying.
Bro, let me give you the timeline. Christianity was established in Jerusalem. One of the very first places it went after it left Jerusalem was Ethiopia.
So look,
Ethiopia, Nubia, Egypt, Carthage, the Asia Minor, all of those places.
So you're saying the people of Jerusalem started Christianity and it had no influence with no other culture outside of it, is what you're saying, right?
What are you? Hold on. Say that again.
Is that what you're saying?
Run that question by me again.
What you're saying is Christianity started in Jerusalem and it did not have it had no influence with no other culture outside of Jerusalem, and it just from there it spread it. That's what you're saying, right?
What I'm saying is the claim that Kemetic
So I'm
spirituality
asking you,
had
did
any
it start in
influence
Jerusalem
on
and had no other
Christianity
influence?
is false. We're talking about Kemetic spirituality right now. The claim
Right.
that Kemetic spirituality had an influence on Christianity is outright false. Point blank.
Now,
Period.
what I'm asking you is a simple question.
I just answered it.
No, you didn't. No, you
Because
didn't. What I'm
what are we
saying
talking
is,
about? We're talking about
did it start?
Kemetic
No,
spirituality.
hear me
We
out.
talking about Kemetic. Oh, okay, go ahead.
All I'm asking you is, are you saying that it started in Jerusalem without any interruption or interference with other cultures, and then it spread it out? Is that what you're saying?
All right, as an ideology, Christianity had no outside influence from the Greeks, the Romans, the people of Kemet, any of that.
So it started on its own. It had no influence from outside culture.
The only person that influenced Christianity was Jesus Christ, bro. He's the prototype for
Christianity. But you do know that Christianity existed before Jesus,
bro. What's the definition of Christianity?
Do you know that, right?
What's the definition of Christianity?
Did you know that?
I've heard that, but it's not true.
Did the Old Testament exist before the New Testament?
The Old Testament is not Christianity, though. That's why I'm asking you, what is the definition of Christianity?
I'm asking you, brother. What I'm saying.
Just said no. Did I just not say no?
Okay. So Jerusalem started Christianity with no influence outside of Jerusalem. That's what you're saying, right?
Right.
Okay. Where's your evidence?
What's the definition of Christianity, bro? I'm gonna ask you again.
Could you answer that question?
The evidence, the history. Do you know what the history of Christianity? Have you studied the history of it?
Yes.
Objectively, not based on some
Afrocentric. Look, I know my perspective. I'm asking
it's not
your
about
perspective.
your perspective. I'm talking about objective history, not somebody's perspective.
No, what I'm saying is, if you say that Christianity started
in the first century AD in Jerusalem
without any interference with other cultures, it just started on its own.
Right, because of Jesus Christ.
Of Jesus.
Because of Jesus Christ and his ministry. Yes.
Okay.
Now that we on Jesus, you made another point that Jesus was black because he was hidden in Egypt. Now, you want me to tell you why that cannot entirely be taken as true?
Now, what I'm saying, I said that in the context of the belief. I'm not saying historically.
Well, historically, he was a man of color, so you were partially.
That's still a belief.
It's not a belief because the dude existed, so it's not a belief about what color he was.
Okay, that's not my subscription.
I mean, it don't matter. You going against 95% of scholars who have studied the historicity of Jesus. So your perspective
holds no history of Jesus, because the story of Jesus existed before the birth of Jesus.
No, the story
before
of Jesus on prophet.
Before you can't say that Jesus, there were other stories.
Nah, that came right from that. You know who that came from? Do you know who started that whole notion?
Started with notion.
What you just said, that there was a story of Jesus before Jesus.
The people of the time, Josephus was a historian at the time of the so-called birth of Jesus, and did not mention this man once.
What? You do know I have a whole book on Josephus. He does mention that, right?
He does not mention Jesus once.
Bro, have you read the works of Josephus?
Yes, I have. You know how they mention Jesus, or what they call Jesus? He mentions Christ, but there was more than one Christ.
Bro.
He never mentioned the word.
You know that
Josephus, honestly, Josephus did not mention the name Jesus one time.
But he did say Christ, though.
But he did not mention the name Jesus one time.
But he did say Christ,
though. He did not mention Jesus once.
So what? You going off of verbiage, but you're not going off of whether he was talking about Jesus Christ. But you said he mentioned Christ.
You can mention Christ. You can mention Christ and not talk about Jesus.
What?
Did you know that? Did you know this? The people that follow Buddhists are not called Buddhists. Did you know that?
So
Did you know
are you gonna deviate from what we're talking about,
no,
or are you
I'm
gonna stay on
asking you.
subject?
I'm
Are you
asking
gonna
you. Did
stay?
you
Are
know
you
that
gonna
the
stay
people
on
that call?
subject?
Well, I'm
Because
asking you. No, hold on.
because
The people who call
we
themselves Christians,
went from Jesus being black to who Buddhists call themselves, which I could care less about.
right? But I care about. But I'm saying to you, the people who worship Buddha are not called Buddhists.
I mean,
You
and
know what they call? I'm going to tell you what they call. They're called Christians.
they're called
They're
Christians.
called.
And where did you get that from? Where did you get that from?
I was a Buddhist.
No, I asked, where did you get that
I
from?
went to the temple. I was a Buddhist. We're called Christians. In the temple,
And
we call
what is the definition of that term?
the word
according to
Christian
Buddha?
to be Christ-like.
Right.
To be Christ-like.
In the Buddhist in that language, that's what it translates to.
To be Christ-like. The people
Yeah,
that worship, people that worship Serapis. You ever heard of a deity named Serapis? The people who worship Serapis were called Christians.
That's not
Many
true.
people that was called Christians long
That's
before
not true.
Jesus Christ.
That you're not being honest, because the people that worship
look it up.
Serapis,
look up the believers of Serapis. What were they called?
The people that worship Serapis were not called Christians, and in fact, they attacked Christians.
False.
So that is not false. That's historical. That's historical, bro. So back to Jesus being black because he was hidden in Egypt. Now, what I'm trying to relay to you is that during the time that Jesus was a kid, that particular region of the world was a ethnic mixture of different cultures. You had the Greeks, you had Romans, you had Palestinians, you had Assyrians, you had all these different ethnic groups inhabiting those particular areas. So for you to say that Jesus, because Jesus was hidden in Egypt, that somehow he was black, that's not a right and exact statement, because there was too many different skin tones in that particular area during that time for you to make that assertion. Because essentially what you're trying to do is you're making a statement that everybody in that region was black.
Okay, let me tell you the reason why I say that. The reason why I say it is because if Jesus was white and they was looking for a white baby in a black country, they would have found him.
Again, you're making a false statement, because by that time Egypt was not a black African civilization.
But if they were looking for a white child, it wouldn't have been hard to find a white child.
How do you, bro? I not just tell you that particular region was an ethnic melting pot for different cultures. White people were over there too during that time.
But they were okay. If they was looking, no, Egypt was black, and it's always
wasn't, bro.
Up until recently.
Egypt was bro. Egypt ceased being a black African civilization after the first invasion. Egypt ceased to be a black African civilization after the first invasion, and Egypt was conquered several times over. And by that time, the Romans had, they had taken over. So, I mean,
all the Romans weren't white.
Okay, we can make that claim. But some of them were. So you can't say that because.
But they weren't white in the form that we think we call white.
Yeah, but you could tell the difference between them and a black person, though.
If I'm going to a black city and I'm looking for a white child and I don't see him,
it was not a black city during that time period, bro. Why I have to keep telling you that?
Okay, why couldn't they find Jesus in Egypt?
Because he was hidden. Doesn't the narrative say that? Because he was hidden.
They went to every house and couldn't find his white baby.
So you're telling me that they went to every house in Egypt, or they went to every house in Jerusalem?
They went wherever place they was looking for him at. They didn't find him.
Herod was not looking for Jesus in Egypt. He was looking for Jesus in Jerusalem.
Okay.
So
he still was black.
I mean, he was he wasn't black in the sense that we define black. Like that picture of Marcus Garvey you got on your screen. He wasn't black like that. He was a brown-skinned Palestinian Jew, but he wasn't black like a black African. So
you do admit
they're
that
trying to make that equivalent.
So what I'm saying is
false.
there's no way he was white now.
I mean, I can agree with that, but don't make the statement that the whole area was just full of black people, like there weren't different ethnic groups there.
Right. What I'm saying is he had to have been okay. All right, let's go back. I'll apologize. Let me do my apology. If he was a person of color. Anybody, according to white people, if you're a person of color, you're black. So
white people, bruh, that do you know that was established?
Jesus could not have been a white person. He had to have been a person of color, correct?
Bruh, you're being anachronistic. They didn't view color the way that we view color today.
I understand that, but if they were looking for a white child, if they were looking for a white child, they would have found him in a place full of people of color.
Everybody there wasn't a person of color, unless you consider white people as people of color too, because they do have melanin. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying?